7.
Welcome back, 8:13 now. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump recently gave a speech outlining his economic policy and tax reform plan. Well, Texas Congressman Roger Williams, who joins us this morning, has laid out a similar plan called Jumpstart America. So, Congressman, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We appreciate your time. Let's talk a little bit about the plan that you laid out, which you called Jumpstart America, and that was actually something that Donald Trump referenced. He wants to jumpstart America with his plan.
Well, he did reference it, and it's a compliment. We've had our plan for about 9 or 10 months, and his start is a good start, but it doesn't go deep enough. Main Street America is still hurting. We got the highest tax rates in the world. We've got to fix it. We've got to put people back to work. We've tried 0% stimulus money. None of that works. So tax reform is really what we need. So we're talking about cutting the corporate income tax, cutting the personal income tax, cutting the cap gains and dividends, which Mr. Trump didn't talk about, cutting the payroll tax, which he didn't talk about. We also repatriate the money that's overseas and brings jobs back over and jobs that we never had. But begin to turn it back to Main Street and let what I say the greatest asset America has in America. Let small business begin to work again. Right now they're playing defense. Highest tax rates in the world do not mean you're going to have a better economy. We need to fix that.
So your tax reform plan goes a little bit further.
Right.
What would you like to see from Donald Trump?
Well, I want to see, I like his corporate income tax, I like his personal, but we need to be talking about the payroll taxes. We need to talk about 100% write-offs on fixed asset purchases. If people buy a computer or they buy a tractor, they can write it off if they want to. That's big. We need to talk about those things. We need to be aggressive. We need to bring business back here. We need to bring business here that never was here. We do that with real tax reform. His plan is good, but doesn't go far enough like ours does.
Okay, and talk about how this tax reform plan is different from Hillary Clinton's.
Well, Ms. Clinton wants to really tax everybody. You can't raise taxes. We know the highest tax rates don't work. We got a $19 trillion debt. We have a spending problem in America. We need to create cash flow until those of us in Washington get serious about cutting expenses. Ms. Clinton's tax plan taxes the middle class. It talks about, in many cases, a 90% tax rate. We got the highest tax rates in the world. Why raise them even more? It will not empower small business owners to start businesses, take risk, and get rewarded. That's what America's about.
Okay, well, we will see as they continue to lay out their plans further as the campaign continues. Congressman, we have to talk about the House Ethics Committee. You're under review because they say acting in your own financial interest. You added an amendment to a transportation legislation that would allow car dealerships essentially to rent out cars that are subject to recall. Is that correct? You own a car dealership, and that's what they're accusing of acting.
I'm in the car business, but this is just another example of George Soros. It's a liberal hit job on a conservative Republican business person trying to make things easier, trying to make regulations less for small business owners. And so it's a review. Frankly, we've given them everything they want. We're done with it. We're moving on now. But it's just a typical political hack job by a left-wing liberal, George Soros, who is
So you're cooperating with this review?
Well, certainly. It's a review, and we've given them everything they need to do. And like I say, we're moving on.
And you say it's not in your financial interest by adding this amendment?
Of course not. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Okay. Well, Congressman, we appreciate you talking about that and coming in to talk about your tax reform plan, taking the time this morning.
Thank you.
Chelsea?
Good day.